everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up today, Dan, I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Nothing. To a whole lot of nothing.
The United States of America.
Oh, you're not standing.
And to the republic for which it stands.
Yes.
One nation.
Uh-huh.
Indivisible.
Oh, wait.
With liberty
Hold on.
and justice
Wait.
for all.
Hang on. I'm pretty sure you skipped a bit.
Whatever.
We'll get to that later. We'll talk about that. We'll figure that out. We'll get it sorted.
Hopefully.
Down the road a piece.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Well, Dan, do you want to start with your big announcement?
Oh, sure. It is a pretty big announcement for me.
Yeah.
And that is that so there was recently a competition, a contest called No God But Funny. I think that don't tell them I said this. Not a great name for a competition, but okay. It was a
Well, Dan.
it was a great competition though. The idea was, and this was co-sponsored by two very prominent sorry.
You're bearing the lead here, Dan.
Well, okay. I need to start that all over again because I needed to have it pulled up and I didn't have it pulled up. Okay. Center for Inquiry for you. Okay. Yes, I do have an announcement.
Oh, okay.
This is good.
Yeah.
So there was a competition recently called the No God But Funny competition. It was co-sponsored by the Center for Inquiry and the Freedom from Religion Foundation, our friends at the FFRF.
Yes, indeed.
It was in response to the fact that atheists are frequently presented as bad characters, or if in popular media, atheists are usually emotionless, or they're sort of robotic people, or they're like brainiacs but they're jerks,
Or Brian the dog.
or Brian the dog on Family Guy. Sure.
Or the exact same character but an alien on
right on the
and
other
gay.
yeah, on the other
the other Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane show, American Dad.
Yeah, that's the one.
Anyway, so the competition was for they put in a request for a teleplay for a sitcom or a sitcom webisode that you could enter. Me and Rachel, our beloved Rachel, who has co-hosted the show with me a couple times when you were out,
Yes.
co-wrote a teleplay and submitted it to the contest, and just found out this week that we won.
Well, that is amazing.
We are the winners.
That is crazy, Dan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will be the first to say it on this show.
On the show, yes. The only one really to say it on the show, because you're the only one on the show besides me.
All right.
Anyway, we're going to be heading out to L.A.
Whisked away.
Hey, well,
Limos. Whisked drivers and limos and
oh yes, it's nothing but
large suites at the Beverly Hilton.
caviar and the high life for us from here on out. Nothing so fancy. There was a lovely cash prize, one that was ridiculously high considering this kind
All
of
things can. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
And then the idea is that they're going to be shopping it around Hollywood, trying to get somebody to bite and actually make the thing.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we'll see.
Very exciting. You'll have to keep us updated.
I will.
I'm sure you will.
I'm incredibly doubtful that anything's actually going to come of this, other than the cash prize, which is a thing.
Oh yeah. Gosh.
But hey, we'll see what we can do for you, folks. I'm trying to get famouser and famouser, and then I'll leave you people in the dust.
Whoa, rude. All right.
So that's that.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well,
congrats to me. Hooray.
Do you have
and Rachel?
Do you have? Yeah. Oh yeah. Congratulations, Rachel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah. All right, Dan.
Yo.
Do you have anything, or do you want me to go?
I can go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So this Dateline London, there was a play that was written in London by British-born playwright Omar El-Kahiri called Homegrown.
Okay.
Set to be just performed in schools around London.
Okay.
However, it was canceled. The play's director, Nadia Latif, said that the police had asked to see the script of Homegrown, which takes as its subject matter the radicalizing of Muslims. This is a problem all over, but in Great Britain, it is definitely a problem. Over 700 British Muslims are reported to have left England to fight alongside Islamic State.
That's horrifying.
It's happening here too. It's an important subject, so a lot of people are very upset that this play has been canceled.
So the police.
Yeah, so the police requested a copy of the play to read. They were turned down the first time, but they persisted and were finally given a copy of the play. And it looks like they pressured them to shutter the play. The reason, I assume, being that they that it could cause rioting or anger or something.
It's a dangerous piece of theater.
Dangerous theater.
Oh my goodness.
This actually prompted some very important people in UK theater, including David Hare, who is one of Britain's most prominent playwrights, actor Simon Callow, and a human rights activist named Shami Chakrabarti, who the three of them wrote a letter to the paper saying that the cancellation of the play was, quote, a troubling moment for British theater and freedom of expression. They said its cancellation serves only to shut down conversation on these important issues.
Yeah.
We fear that government policy in response to extremism may be creating a culture of caution in the arts.
Ooh. You don't want that. You want these discussions. You want people being, confronted with, something that might be a little challenging, a little difficult. And
well, that's what the arts are for.
Exactly.
The arts are there to open the conversation.
Yes.
Now, that's not to say
not
that
what the police are there for.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right. Well, but that's not to say that arts have not caused rioting or have not caused real trouble.
Oh, I know.
So I get the impulse, but you have to just let them do it.
Yeah, but what's the bigger problem?
Right.
Limiting the expression, or like.
I mean, you can't yell fire in a theater,
right? But this is.
But what you can do is discuss fire and theaters
being on fire,
right, or anything like around that in the theater, and that's the whole point of art.
Right. Okay. All right.
So I just thought that was an interesting.
I'm glad
thing.
you brought it up.
Yeah.
Well, I have a story of. Well, actually, this is kind of an update. We talked about. We actually had it as our second half of the show a few weeks ago, where we talked about the Boy Scouts and their decision to allow gay adult leaders into their ranks. Because they had already been letting the boys in, the gay boys,
right,
in
with their rainbow-colored neckerchiefs.
Yes, indeed,
and their perfectly pressed shorts.
Well, I imagine it's probably more like, did you ever see Troop Beverly Hills with Shelley Long? It's a little bit more of that, sort of redesigning or rethinking.
You got to
the whole
rework
Scout.
Oh my God, khaki is so out this season.
Yeah,
we need to be working with.
I'm
going with a mauve theme for
and just
2016.
A slimmer fit to the Scout pants.
Always flattering,
right?
Always
much better. A little because they're a little loose.
Sure,
as they are.
Sure.
A little, I mean, I know it's because the boys are growing, but a little too much of the elastic band thing going on.
You don't want it.
You may not notice that underneath the belt, but that's there. But anyway. So a poll was taken by UtahPolicy.com that shows 63% of respondents who identify themselves as very active in the LDS Church, say that the church should either definitely or probably leave the Boy Scouts.
Oh.
And launch their own group for young men in the church, out of fear, of course, that these homosexual leaders of the other troops are going to prey on their sons.
Yeah,
because that's the only reason that they could possibly,
it's not just that they would be lurking to get the boys. It's that the boys might catch gay from them.
That's possible.
You never know. Now you're a gay man, so tell me, is it transmitted through bites, or is it like a viral thing, or is it more like a vampire-y sort of thing? I don't know how it works.
It's more of a trade secret.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't want to. It's none of my business.
We really don't discuss these things.
It's none of my business.
We don't discuss this with outsiders. If really ever.
Although what's funny is that you said with outsiders, and what I heard was without ciders, and I was like, well, I can get you a cider.
Sorry.
Anyway, go on, please, with the thing.
Yeah. So this is happening. Clearly, this would be a huge blow. We talked about that as well to the Boy Scouts in general. What's interesting is that Utah Catholics who wound up in this poll also. Utah Catholics called on the Latter-day Saints to stick with scouting. Please stay.
Oh, yeah.
Please stay. We need you.
Yeah.
We need you to keep this place conservative. But Protestants in Utah were like, fuck it, get them out of here.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Which I think is pretty amazing. The LDS Church refused to comment still on this thing, aside from their original comment, which was that they were considering to create their own international program.
Sure.
At this point, I would say it's probable they're just going to leave.
Yeah, I would say you're actually right. If I were handicapping it, I'd definitely put the odds on the church backing out and starting their own thing.
They now know they have the support of their people.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's just the kind of thing that they're doing.
Then they don't have to change with another organization.
Yeah.
They can just make the rules, and when their rules change, then they change. Yeah. And
the only thing that I can't speculate on is, are they going to create an organization that's exclusively for them, or sort of partner with another conservative religious group?
No, exclusively.
You think it's going to be exclusive?
I think it's definitely going to be just their thing. And it's going to be shittier. It's just going to be a little shittier than the Boy Scouts.
I predict there will be a lot of pins instead of badges.
No, that's what the girls get.
Oh, the girls get pins?
The girls get pins.
Ah, damn.
So they can't do pins.
Maybe they'll do bracelets.
They'll just boondoggle.
They'll just charm bracelets with beautiful little charms.
That'll fix the gay problem for sure.
Yeah, no, they're lovely. You have a little frowny mask and a little for like the drama.
Yeah, sure.
Charm.
A little fire charm for when you're able to start a fire.
The little Swiss flag looking thing, if you can, for saving lives,
first aid or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Swimming.
Sure.
Some waves.
Right. Yeah.
Lovely. These charms, the thing is, these charms pretty much already exist.
Well,
you can find all these charms.
And you can wear them fashionably well into your adulthood. So, all right. I'm going to move on. There's an increasing, I'm going to say, I'm not going to call it a trend. It's not big enough to be a trend. Oh. But there's a thing happening mostly in the South.
Okay.
Where gun ranges, shooting ranges, and gun stores are starting to declare themselves Muslim-free zones.
Yeah. I've heard about this. I think I saw one on State Street, actually.
Here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I seem to recall because
That may be.
Because I was driving by, and this was like, good golly, this was down a ways. But I still was like, when I saw it, I was like, there's a shooting range right there? Like it was, but I swear to God it had a sign about Muslims, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But anywho, that's neither here nor there.
It's happening. It's fairly alarming. One gun shop owner, a woman by the name of where is her name? Jan Morgan, wrote on the website of her gun range in Arkansas. The Quran, parentheses, which I have read and studied thoroughly, on parentheses, and parentheses, which Muslims align themselves with, on parentheses, close parentheses, contains 109 verses commanding hate, murder, and terror against all human beings who refuse to submit or convert to Islam. Wow. Why would I hand a loaded gun to a Muslim and allow him to shoot lethal weapons next to people his Quran commands him to kill?
Well, yeah, it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
It
Clearly,
is.
he's hell-bent on killing people.
I'll say this much. I don't buy for a second that she's read this book, that she read the Quran.
Probably not.
I don't buy that for 1 second.
Yeah, it was probably more of a book on tape situation.
I'm thinking her minister threw out that 109 verses thing.
And she just bought it.
She just bought it.
It's like, that sounds good.
Just claimed it.
Yeah.
Look, I've read she hasn't even read the Bible.
Right. I do like the idea of a woman in Arkansas driving around in her minivan listening to the Quran on tape.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, the Quran on tape.
I want to actually get that. It's
Yeah?
the only way I could handle it.
Yeah.
It's in the background.
Oh, God.
Stereo on maybe volume level 10 at the most.
If your Ambien isn't working, just throw on the Quran on tape.
Gross.
And then switch to the Book of Mormon. No matter what, it's just going to put you right to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is happening. There are several of these stores that are doing this. Of course, there are legal issues with it.
What kind of legal issues?
Well,
are these publicly owned?
No. But I mean, just in the same way that a cake maker can't offer cakes to everybody and then say, no cake for you, gay person.
Right.
You can't say, hey, we're a gun range for the public.
Right, but Muslims aren't gay.
Well, I see you've pointed out the hole in my logic. Well done. Of course, some Muslims are gay.
Oh, shit.
So those guys are in real trouble.
No, but I mean, come on. It's just Muslims.
Ibrahim Hooper, which I think is a delightful name. He's of the Council on American Islamic Relations. He's their national director. He said that, quote, these bigoted declarations are no different than, quote, whites-only signs posted in businesses during the period of our nation's history that we had hoped was over.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right.
Well, but you know, for the safety of Muslim gun enthusiasts, you know, maybe they should just open their own, you know, Muslims only gun range, shooting range.
Sure.
You know, like right next to the other shooting range.
Because that'll go over real well. in terms of neighborhood relations, I think you're gonna make some friends. Look, we like guns too.
Yeah.
We have the same interests.
Yeah.
Look at my big gun. So here's the thing about the legal thing. Title II of the U.S. Civil Rights Act does cover not just discrimination against a religious organization, but it may not matter if it's a private club. You may be able to skirt it, but then there are also every state has its own laws.
Right.
So consult your local state legal code if you want to discriminate against anyone for their religious purposes, for their religious practices.
What if...
Which I encourage you to do. I don't know.
Well, what if they just set up a church that is just a shooting range.
Oh, I'm sure that there are
Because
churches
then-
that have shooting ranges.
Yeah.
You know what?
Or just convert your business into
a church. I was going to say,
Go tax
you
exempt.
have a church. You
get
got some of those
ministers.
churches that have the bowling alleys in the basement that are closing up. Convert that to a shooting range. You got yourself a great time,
I don't see how a church with a bowling alley could be closing up.
right?
That's perfect.
You'd think that would be
That's
just
such a draw.
I think you should be able to bowl while the sermon's happening.
Yeah.
I think the preacher should only be allowed to make a sermon if he bowls 7 or higher
Oh, yeah.
per frame.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I like it, Dan.
Yeah. You like discriminating against the Muslims?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
And actually, I'm going to follow your story with one that's set in France and has to deal with Muslims. So guess how that went?
Well, the French are both frequently Muslim and also hate them.
Oh, yes. So a French court recently ruled that school lunches may include pork without having to offer a non-pork option.
Ooh, that's bad for the Jews too.
That is bad for the Jews, too. But mainly the Muslims are the ones who are up in arms because they know that they're the ones being targeted.
Sure,
with this whole thing.
I don't know. I know that Muslims, like, you're not supposed to touch anything that's touched pork. So maybe there's a whole, like, maybe the Jews can eat around the pork. They can eat the bread that touched the bologna or whatever.
I'm not fully up on the ins and outs of these rules.
No, I'm sure Rabbi Gruber could tell us.
I'm sure he could. But here's the deal.
What's that?
They do often offer vegetarian options.
Oh.
Which are probably going to become the de facto Muslim option. But so this is all based in the fact that France has this law that it was passed in 1905 that establishes the separation of church and state.
Okay.
But the way that they take it, and I'm not that familiar with like what the law says, but the way that it seems to be taken, or at least it's being interpreted for this, is that it enshrines secularism into the public space, right? And that's how the French have taken it. So you do not get to come trotting into the public space with your religion.
With your yarmulke held high.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've passed laws against headscarves,
right?
And Jewish skull caps and other quote ostentatious displays of religion.
your religion belongs in your life, not and
I don't want to have to look at it,
which is
in any way,
that's
shape,
pretty
or
bullshit.
form.
That's pretty bullshit to say.
No.
To say. I'm really annoyed by that guy always walking around with his hair looking like that. And
it is annoying.
Ugh.
It's annoying.
How can we stop this?
And so, school children in France, with this kind of mentality, there needs to be no concessions made for their individual diets if those diets are religiously based.
Right.
Now, if instead they, for whatever reason, don't eat meat, okay, here, young French child.
Right.
Have your plate of veggies.
Right.
Oh,
there's a whole. Well, I mean, I guess meat has to be halal for a Muslim to eat it anyway.
Now, this is the thing. Apparently, I loved this comment from one of the sort of the top sort of voices, Muslim voices in the country. It says all Muslims respect secularity. Really?
What?
Muslims have never asked for halal meat in school cafeterias.
Oh.
So they're fine with it just being not pork.
Well,
and sending their kids off to public schools and having meals that are not pork delicious.
It seems like with this case, like the French just keep poking the lion.
Although they're just looking for things.
They're just looking for something. They're just like, hey, look at him over there. Do you think he would get mad if I throw this stone at him? Blink.
Yeah. How about this piece of pork?
I will, hello, Mr. Muslim. I have some lovely pork chop for you, if you would like, but if you don't like, I throw it at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
yeah.
They're just looking for excuses to be dicks at this point.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, in one way, I love the French for their belief in sort of secularism and whatnot.
Sure.
But to not provide an option for the Muslim kid.
Right.
Who has different dietary...
and who's not, let's face it, not making choices about his life.
Right.
Like, this kid is not saying, like, there's no 10-year-old who's like, I converted to Islam and now I can't eat pork. It's like, your parents made you do this.
Right.
But you got to punish the kid anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's fun.
All right. In Toronto, Canada, it's the New York of Canada. I don't know if you know that. We've been there. Oh, wait. You didn't go. You didn't go. I went with our film to there.
Yes.
Anyway, in Toronto, there's an ordained minister, Reverend Greta Vosper, of the West Hill United Church in suburban Toronto.
Okay.
This is Canada's largest Protestant denomination. I don't know if you knew that. The United Church.
United Church?
Yes, indeed.
What is it, I don't understand.
They're united. They've been united.
I've never heard of them.
They're an offshoot of the Reunited and It Feels So Good Church. So anyway, Reverend Vosper is in a little bit of trouble. She's going to have a court, apparently, within the church. The church is going to decide whether she gets to remain at the pulpit.
Okay. Because
she has not believed in God since at least 2001. United Church is apparently a very liberal sect, but golly, that's pushing it pretty far.
Wow.
Yeah, she wrote a book called With or Without God. When she came out as not necessarily believing in God back in 2001, she lost about 2/3 of her congregants, but there's a third that stuck around, which I think's amazing. And she just kept on preaching. She just kept on doing, which I think is quite astounding.
Yeah.
In terms of all right.
I mean, when you've been doing something for a while.
Yeah.
And you don't know what else you want to do.
And it's what you're good at.
You're good at it.
Yeah, you went to school for it.
You'd be throwing that education away.
She seems like she's got a nice look to her. She has a pleasant feel about her in this picture. She's a 57-year-old woman.
I'm saying that, but surely there was some Unitarian Universalist something or other that would be happy to have her.
Yeah, you would think that she'd be able to, or start a humanist congregation or something. But no, she is not interested.
She's stuck with it. Okay.
She's stuck with it. She had a home. So now that church is saying, maybe we should have gotten rid of you. Maybe we should get rid of you.
So what happens if she gets convicted at church court? Does she have to serve church time?
She has to go to
church jail.
Church jail. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's church.
All the rest of the inmates. Yeah, that's right. You have to. Services are mandatory. Oh my God. She says. Here's some interesting quotes from her. Quote: "I don't believe in the God called God."
All right. The God called God.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
I don't know.
Its name?
Its name. It's God.
God. I didn't know that was the name.
Well,
oh, that's just what
I mean, that's a title.
State of being is.
Yeah.
It's God.
It's a title, I guess.
God's
Like a Buddha.
God.
Or a Christ. How many Christs are there? Anyways, when she was asked, by the way, speaking of Christ, if Jesus was the Son of God, she said, I don't think Jesus was. So she's doing a great job at being an atheist and kind of a piss poor job at being the pastor or reverend of a United Church.
Well, I mean, you don't know that. She might have been really good at it.
Right.
She just doesn't.
I just feel like there's
one really important thing.
I feel like there's something that's really, really important about
kind of missing from the whole thing.
Yeah. Although, as we know from what is it called? The Pastor Project, or the we know there are lots of atheists who are trapped in their job as a pastor or a priest. It happens a lot.
Well, they know too much.
They know too much. Once you start to pay attention, it all goes a little wibbly wobbly, if you know what I mean.
Shit. All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
Are you familiar with YOLO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that. Well, it stands for you only live once.
Yeah.
I don't have proof of that.
YOLO. Right. You kind of yell it.
Right.
And like hashtag it, right? That's kind of sort of how this whole YOLO thing works.
Right. Yeah. Hashtag the heck out of it.
Well, there is a New Jersey brewery that is releasing a Pope Francis inspired beer that's called Yopo. You only pope once. It's a hoppy pale with a 5.5% alcohol content. And, yeah, it's going to be available at their little draft house.
Yopo.
And they say that it pairs well with a nice cut of Argentinian beef.
Okay, well, that sounds lovely. I will say this. Here's where I thought they were going to go.
Oh, yeah?
Considering that Christians believe in a life after death, I thought they were going to go for Yolt.
Oh, you only live twice.
Boom.
Or thrice if you're a Mormon.
Or whatever. Once before, once
during,
now,
and then after.
Once after.
And then really there's that thing that comes after the resurrection. And
yeah, there's a...
Cool.
I mean, maybe you do only live once, and these are just different phases of it.
Yeah.
You only live once, but it lasts forever. So, really, you don't need to seize the day at all.
And the whole once thing.
Right. You only live...
Can you count infinity?
Most people don't even live at all.
As being once.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what if it's eternal? Is that once or is that... Yeah.
Well, most people don't even pope once. That's the deal.
That's
but
true.
Here's your chance.
If
you're in New Jersey,
I've never poped at all.
Go to the Cape May Brewing Company.
I mean, I'd give it a shot if they asked me to.
To be the Pope?
Sure. I'd try it out. Try it on for fit. See how it works.
Well, there's that lovely, very funny little, what was it called? Basically Pope on the Run, but it was it was an Italian movie.
Okay, like a comedy.
And this guy, this cardinal who really doesn't want to be Pope, gets called to be the Pope, and he's just like, shit. And he runs. He
runs away. Run away. Oh my God,
it's really funny.
This sounds like a Roberto Benigni sort of vehicle.
It's not. It's not at all. In fact, it's made by his name's escaping me right now, but a Italian filmmaker I really like.
Oh.
He's done some really, really fantastic, actually really, really fantastic films. But I can't think of his name right now.
There you go. Anyway, well, if you know what the name of Frank's mystery film is and want to write in and tell us, or want to write in and tell us anything about anything, you can do so by going to the internets.
Yes.
Go and find your nearest internet.
Yes.
And then write to podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call this phone number, 424-666 8442 and leave a voicemail message.
Yeah.
And sometimes we play them
on the show.
Right.
Yeah. Your voice on our very
on this
program.
podcast.
On this very
coming through the very headphones or speakers that you're currently listening.
You can't even say airwaves. It feels like we should be able to say airwaves.
Ones and zeros.
But
it's streaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Breakneck speeds.
Zipping through your fiber. Tearing into your things. I mean, I guess if you get it on mobile, it goes through the airwaves.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Go to the Facebook page, kids. Facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And also on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. It's a closed group, so you have to request to get in, and we'll let you in.
Sure. People in the Members Only Lounge knew before the rest of you that I won that contest.
Oh, my goodness.
Do you see the advantages?
So many.
You could be the first of things.
All right. Well, let's take our patty break.
Okay. Sounds good.
Gays, Dan. Oh, gays.
Aren't they ever?
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to recognize what's going on. And it is very interesting. Homosexuals, gays, lesbians, transgender, whatever you call them, they were asking for acceptance. They were asking for a part in society. And so that's been granted them. They have a part in society. They have job protection. The Supreme Court has just said not only is homosexuality a constitutional protected practice, but now homosexual marriage is protected by the Constitution. The founders would have been turning in their graves if they thought such a thing was being said, but that's Anthony Kennedy's ruling. So, are they content? No. They now are on a vendetta to destroy everyone who disagrees with them. And they will bring to court, bring into opprobrium, take away jobs, take away economic opportunity. They're going to do everything to destroy everyone who disagrees with this point of view. And now we're going to have a clash between homosexual rights and the Bible and religious belief. Now, trust me, homosexuality is not enshrined in the Constitution, but the right to worship God is.
Hey, oh no! Save yourselves, folks! He's a gay and he's on a rampage to destroy us! Oh. Frank, stop destroying everybody.
He's like describing Godzilla, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, he really is.
Just stomping through and just destroying everything.
Just laying waste.
Flames.
Yeah, just
definitely flames.
Lots and lots of flames. Oh, my God. He doesn't even realize that his own Jesus was probably gay.
Wow. Are you serious?
That's right, motherfucker. I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to that.
I want Jesus to come back now.
I know, right?
I want gay Jesus to come back.
Gay Jesus. Yeah. Hey. Oh, my God. You guys will not believe how awesome heaven looks. You've got to convert because you're going to miss out. It's stunning. We have literally decorated it within an inch of its life. It's ridiculous.
All right. Well,
anyway, so we had some voicemails that we would like to play for you all.
Yes,
people calling in.
We did.
Yeah.
I'll do the first.
Okay.
This is we brought up this the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Yeah, somebody else had brought it up in an email to us. So
is that how it got started?
Yes, and we were caught off guard a little bit.
Got started, and we said our piece on it, and we got some details wrong. Right. So let's just play this one.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Ken from Virginia. Love the podcast. Just wanted to shed some light on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier issue that you spoke about in your last episode. So a couple of things. I was a former member of the unit that housed the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier platoon. I wasn't a tomb guard or tomb sentinel, but I did perform military ceremonies in Arlington National Cemetery. And first things first, they are soldiers. that guard the tomb, they're not U.S. Marines. They're soldiers, part of the oldest active infantry regiment in the United States Army. Second, the tomb actually houses remains from each war that we fought in, starting with World War I. World War I, World War II, Korea, the Vietnam War unknown soldier was actually identified. He was an Air Force pilot that was shot down in Vietnam, and they matched the records with, what the pilot was wearing on that day that he was shot down, and then they disinterred him from the tomb. They identified his remains, and then he actually, like that caller had previously stated, they buried him in Arlington National Cemetery. They did not bury him in Arlington National Cemetery. They transported him to St. Louis, Missouri, and they buried him at the Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. So just wanted to shed some light on you. The ceremonies are great there at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and I would suggest everyone get down there, whether atheist or not, to go to D.C., go to Arlington, and check out the changing of the guard. Thanks, guys. Love the podcast. See you later.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
You were not the only person to call and write into us on that point.
Not even remotely the only person.
Also,
I had no clue this would be.
I will say that there are, apparently, if you say that a soldier is a Marine,
boy,
nobody's happy with you on that point.
Not at all. Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ken. You were very civil,
right,
in your correction.
Right. Right. Yeah. Very, very important distinctions between Army and Marines. Really, really.
They feel it, Dan. They
really
know. They know what the distinctions are. I, for the life of me, don't have a clue. It's all uniforms and short hair.
Yeah, and shooting.
Oftentimes handsome young men.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, there's a picture of my pop in his Marine getup.
It does something for someone.
He's a good-looking fella in that outfit.
Yeah. Look at that hat.
Right?
That hat. Well, we need more hats like that. We need hats in civilian life that, they really make a statement.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There are hats that make a statement.
Not like that.
I was at an amusement park over the weekend for my birthday, and there was one guy wearing a cowboy hat, the brim of which was remarkably wide.
Oh.
Wow. Like the sort of hat equivalent to the Mexican pointy boots thing. It was amazing. Like he was going
excessive.
He was going flying nun style. If he had actually ridden on any of the rides, he would have just sailed away. I feel.
It'd be terrifying.
Yes, indeed. Our next voicemail is not really a voicemail in that it wasn't recorded through our
voicemail system.
But was recorded. This is from Bryce Blankenagel. Bryce, I'm pretty sure that's not a real name. I respect you. Turns out he's the host of a podcast called Naked Mormonism. So there's your shout out that you didn't even ask for.
Woo!
Bryce.
Woohoo!
We may have to have him on the show. He seems like an interesting cat to chat with. But he had some things to say when you recall that we were talking about Joseph Smith's peepstone. That the church revealed, that the Mormon Church revealed to us.
Yes,
and he has some things to say about that and about why the church had to work with the reorganized LDS Church / the Community of Christ in order to get this manuscript.
Yeah.
So here's what he had to say.
Okay.
Hey, Frank and Dan. My name is Bryce Blankenagel, and I am a big fan of the show, and I'm absolutely obsessed with facts about Mormon history. There were just a couple of things that I wanted to add in when you guys were talking about the manuscript and Seerstone stuff. I just wanted to give my understanding of why the LDS Church had to team up with the RLDS Church. When Oliver Cowdery was excommunicated, he took the printer's manuscript and started the RLDS Church and left the original manuscript with Joe. Joe buried his copy in the cornerstone of the Nauvoo temple. When he was about to bury it, a first-hand account has Joseph saying, quote unquote, "I've had enough trouble with this thing." And he was referring to the manuscript of the Book of Mormon. The manuscript that the LDS Church has is just in shambles now, so that's why they had to team up with the RLDS to actually get these photos. I also want to add, as it sits right now, there's somewhere over 4,000 differences from the 1830 Book of Mormon to the currently used 2013 production. But this original manuscript they released is even worse than the 1830 edition. It's written with each chapter being a single sentence with no punctuation and no verse breaks. If you add in all the changes the printer had to do while proofreading the book for printing, there are probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of differences from that manuscript to what's in a TBM's quad today. I also wanted to throw my 2 cents in about the Urim and Thummim. Joe got that brown rock that we saw pictures of by stealing it from somebody that hired him to dig a well. He used it to look for buried treasure until he supposedly pulled the plates from the ground. Apparently, buried with the plates were 2 rocks that were fastened together with a wire, making them into huge, unwieldy glasses. He called these 2 stones the Urim and Thummim. Joe used all of these rocks interchangeably to, quote-unquote, translate the Book of Mormon and give commandments to people from God. Soon, Joe just ditched the hand and stone props and would just go into a trance-like state to give these revelations or commandments. These commandments later became the Doctrine and Covenants. Only after Joe's death would people associate the 2 stones with the 1 brown rock, calling them all the Urim and Thummim. When they used the term, it was just referring to whatever rock Joe was using at the time to help him reveal the will of the Almighty God of the universe. Pretty confusing and extremely ridiculous, and it only took the church 170 years after Joe's death to come sort of clean on this point in their own history. Anyway, sorry for the length. It just fascinates me so much. I could talk about it for hours. Thanks, Frank and Dan. I love the show, and keep up the great work.
Well, thank you, Bryce.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Quite the explanation.
Good stuff. Yeah, we may want to have him on and just talk Mormonism. Ooh, talk wacky Mormons.
Yeah, it
sounds like we like to do.
No, he might know.
Yeah.
some stuff.
He's more willing to do research than we are. We just know what we remember. I had 2 Mormon historian parents, and I just gleaned a lot.
And continues to be fascinated enough,
right, to bother.
That he enjoys reading this stuff.
Yeah.
That's my problem. Is I don't really enjoy it.
No, me neither.
I don't. I'm like, it gives me the willies,
the heebie-jeebies,
the creepy collies,
the heebie-Jesus,
okay, yes,
the night shivers. Does it give you the night terrors?
It makes my tummy feel weird.
It gives you a dark feeling.
It does.
Anyway,
it quivers.
Thanks, Bryce. Do we have another voicemail?
No.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
We had one donor I wanted to thank. Oren went and donated through PayPal. So thank you, Oren. If you...
And I would like to do an update from Joyride.
Okay.
Because we have had new donors, and I haven't thanked them.
Oh, God.
In a few weeks.
Oh, my God.
My apologies, everyone.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Joyride doesn't make it easy.
No, Joyride is kind of a pain in our buttholes.
A while back, I switched to doing the show on my iPad instead of on my laptop.
Oh!
And so
it ruined
it's just not as easy. So, like, if I forget to do it before I come over to Dan's house, fuck it. You know. So here are 5 people who've donated since the last time I thanked.
Cool.
We have Liz.
Yeah.
David. Sugar Lumps. Alina and Rachel Ray.
Okay.
Rachel Ray
is
now a donor.
Wow.
That girl can cook.
Just donating food, Rachel.
Too.
Come on, Rachel. Oh, my dad had a thing for her.
Oh, well, who doesn't?
Yeah. Woof. Get after it there.
Need that dough.
Cook up that steak. Come on. Pound that chicken breast. Oh, yeah, you like it flat. Anyway, thanks to all of our donors. It's amazing that we've got. Now, everyone, you should understand. Here's how Joyride works. Our Joyride campaign, if you donate there, it's a monthly donation.
Yeah.
And that's a recurring thing. And you know, you get stuff for donating.
Yeah.
At different
Supposedly.
levels. We trust.
No, we do. The Google Hangout
Google Hangout
is the big one over there,
right?
And that happens the last Monday of every month at 7 p.m. Mountain Time,
right?
And we do that to anyone, including people who donate on PayPal, who've set up a monthly donation of $15 or more,
right,
on either Joyride or PayPal.
So you get to hang out with us,
yeah,
and your fellow high roller donors,
and we chitty chat for a minute. We have one coming up actually, real soon.
Yeah,
so
a
couple weeks. So
that'll be fun.
Be looking out for that, guys.
So yeah, if you want to donate as well and help put on the show and help, we got a lot of good ideas for how we can improve it at the podcast convention that we went to, but we can't put most of them into action until we have the money to do so. So if you want to be a part of that, go to thankgodimatheist.com. Look over on the right side of the screen and pick your donation venue of choice.
Just click away.
Clickety-click.
Click away.
Here we go. We're going to talk about this here Pledge of Allegiance that we have in these United States of America.
Well, how did this come up, Dan?
Well, okay, so it's back to school time for many American children. They've had their fun.
Yeah.
Now get back in your school and let the rest of us breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're going back to school. There was a little article in the Humanist magazine about what do you call it?
The Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, it was about a campaign that they were doing that they were calling "Don't Say the Pledge,"
and it's like a don't say the pledge.com, right? Isn't there like a URL for this thing?
There is don'tsaythepledge.com is a URL, yes.
Okay.
And
that's the same thing.
Right. And what they're encouraging is for parents and students and anyone, when asked to say the pledge, to sit it out. They're not calling on anyone to raise a ruckus.
Yeah.
But just to, so for those of you who are not of this country, we have several international listeners. We have many. What's required is that, or what's theoretically required, is that a person, when called upon to do so, rise from their seats, place their hands over their hearts, right hand over left heart. So don't put it over your right heart.
No.
Put it over your left heart. And then we recite the pledge that you so eloquently recited earlier in the show, but you skipped the two words that are the most
this is the problem.
Disputed.
Yeah.
Which is that it now says the pledge as it stands is ends with one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Which doesn't make it's more confusing.
Well, it's so dumb. It basically requires of people that they believe in something called God.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, as a kid, I do have to admit, I didn't understand what any of it was about. Like, you know, you're like in kindergarten being taught it, or, and they say it every day.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the school day.
It's this thing that you drone.
Yeah.
That you don't think about. You face the flag
of the United States of America. And I seriously thought some witches were standing somewhere. I know that's like a joke, but I seriously heard it that way. And witches stand.
Witches stand. There you go. I mean, it's like one of those things. Yeah, for which. How many Americans actually use the phrase "for which it stands"? I think it's a weird thing to ask your countrymen to do, to pledge their allegiance. Well, first of all, to a flag.
Yeah, why the fucking flag?
It's not, and it's weird that it's not to the flag as a symbol of the country, but it's to the flag itself.
And the republic.
And to the republic for which it stands.
Yeah. This is all about the flag.
Right. But the weird, but the part that the humanists are up in arms about, of course, is that under God, which was added in, the 50s? In
1954. Right. The words were added.
And
the pledge was old at this point. It had been around since 1892. Sort of grown in popularity. It was formally adopted by Congress in 1942. And then it took them 12 years to quickly realize their mistake or their omission.
Well, what happened was that there was a Cold War starting. Oh. There were communists lurking about, and
atheist communists.
Atheist communists. Yes. So they wanted to differentiate themselves. So so in order to win some voter block points, they threw this this undergod into the middle of it.
Yeah,
kind of wedged it in there.
Picked a clunky place to put it.
Yeah,
probably the best place to put it, but
nevertheless, still clunky. And so now what we have is a bunch of kids who are atheists who are being asked every day to affirm a belief in God.
Yeah.
Now that puts them in a shitty fucking position, because then you've got choices. You can every day affirm a belief in a thing that you don't believe exists,
right? Which
feels shitty. And is confusing for a child.
Yeah,
I would imagine very confusing.
Yeah,
or and this is what the humanists want you to do. You can sit it out, but there's consequences to that.
Social consequences,
and sometimes not social. Sometimes administrative consequences. Here's the thing: when a child sits it out, there are plenty of public schools in the country who have just had this on the books for so long that they don't know what to do when somebody sits and doesn't say the pledge. So a lot of kids get suspended, get ridiculed and mocked by their teacher.
Yeah,
get
teacher.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Publicly chastised by their teachers, administrators, all of that sort of thing.
Who do you think you are?
You better than this country? There's nobody better than this country. This is the best country in the world. So yeah, I mean,
if the child brought the teacher to tears, that'd be amazing.
The child, yeah, exactly. The Humanist Legal Center has a page of just so many letters that they've had to send out. Because people across the country have participated in this boycott. And then had really real consequences inflicted upon them. One example, just the top example of their thing, I found had a kid, get kicked out of class, and then the administration backed up the teacher, so they had to write a letter from their legal counsel saying, this is a serious matter. It was decided already in our Supreme Court system. You don't get to do that. And the Supreme Court case in question, West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett, was pretty conclusive about our right as citizens not to pledge if we don't fucking wanna.
Yeah, good.
I mean, what are you pledging for? Liberty and justice for all. Well, what does liberty look like if not the right not to say that phrase if you don't want to?
And justice for all.
Yeah.
Not being bullied.
Yeah, justice.
By your teacher. And
for those who just...
dipshit kids.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Fun fact, Dan.
Yeah?
The guy who originally wrote the pledge, he, the salute... that he suggested was very sort of remember, this was the late 1800s,
right?
It initially didn't raise any hackles, or I was going to say red flags, but it looked like the Nazi salute. The sort of the hand outstretched, palm down.
That's right.
And the kids had to say "Sieg Heil," I think.
No. They did not say that.
No, but they had their hands out, and they did that instead of placing their hand over their heart.
Right.
Well, boy howdy, come World War II, and we quickly changed that when Congress got involved and was like, "Whoa, no, our children will not be looking like little Nazis saluting the American flag."
Yeah, that I get that. That seems a little
reactionary to me.
Well, yeah.
Own your own thing.
Yeah, you want to
know
say
what it is.
You want to say that.
You know you're not Nazis.
But that's like those guys that walk around with a swastika on and they're like, it's an Indian symbol of peace. And you're like, nope, somebody else took it. It's not that anymore. If you're in India, maybe you can get away with that. But nope. Nope. Hitler won on that one. We're just giving it to him.
Yeah,
That means
why there's
Hitler.
not a lot of Adolfs.
Right, yes, exactly.
In the
Or
world
Hitlers.
Yeah, the Hitlers are pretty much gone, aren't
I
they?
imagine that everybody named Hitler pretty much just changed their name.
Found some ancestor to...
Right. Well,
let's use Mom's last name.
I guess we're Robinsons now. Oh, look, it's Johann Hitler. Hello, Herr Hitler. No. Nein, mein Name ist nicht Hitler. I am now Joe Green. That's my name.
Yeah, so it quickly dropped that.
Yeah.
And, the whole thing is... It's just silly shit.
So here's my question, Frank. Do we, as a podcast, as an institution
What's
here
our
in
stance?
the United States,
Our official stance?
what's our official stance on standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
Well, to be honest, I hadn't really thought it through. I'm going to be...
Yeah, I don't think we have an official stance yet. But, but we
and
can
so-
work through it a little bit
So
here.
I mean, like in my life, the last time I know that I've said the pledge.
Sure. When was that?
I was racking my brain.
Yeah, I can't remember
honestly
saying
can't
it.
remember the last time. Not specifically. I know it's been within the last 10 years.
Okay.
So, an established atheist,
Yeah.
like clearly, I mean, just no question. Totally out to my friends,
Sure.
out at work as an atheist. Like there's just I'm an atheist, right?
Right.
But I think I probably said it. Maybe I was like meh, 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 instead of under God.
You
right?
mumble that part.
One nation. Meh, meh, meh. But I have to say, now that I've given it just a minute to think about, I don't think I'm going to stand for it.
Interesting.
Maybe I would stand and just not say anything.
Sure.
Just because, I...
First of all, you don't want a ruckus.
Right.
And you don't stand, somebody might start a ruckus with you.
And there's this thing in this country where we're all supposed to be patriotic, and it's just like if you're not, you're some weirdo,
or you're somehow a bad American.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden, let's just say hypothetically, they took under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance because they've heard the voices of atheists and humanists, and they say, you know what, they're right. We need to do this,
Which is how they normally respond when they hear
everybody in this
atheists complain.
country to feel like they belong here and that they're accepted. So yes, they're right. Let's say that happened.
Sure.
All of a sudden, I'm excited to say the pledge.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's that like in my mind that I'm kind of wrestling with, because I don't like those like forced patriotic expressions.
Well, you and I have talked about the pledge on the show before. It was years ago, but I think I don't know if I came clean about this or not. But I stopped saying the pledge as a kid.
Oh, did you?
I would stand, I would put my hand on my heart, and I might mumble, but I never said the pledge because not because of the under God thing. The under God thing was fine for me. I was very much a theist at the time.
Right.
But I was very uncomfortable pledging my allegiance to an institution that changes regularly.
Yeah.
Our government changes on a regular basis, and that felt really scary to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I took it so seriously. I was fucking 12.
Yeah.
I was 9.
Yeah. I know. If under God disappeared, I would probably go back to saying the
it?
Pledge of Allegiance.
I feel like you know
what I mean.
Here's
like,
where I
because
stand.
because I think for one of the first times in a very long time, I would feel like the country was including me.
Actually, that's an interesting point. It's almost like you're
kind of obligated.
You're patting them on the back. You're saying thank you. for actually caring about the feelings of a pretty big segment of your population.
You'd have to be like a major dick at that point to just be like, still no.
Well, I don't know that you have to be a major dick. Here's the thing. My impulse now, when I think about, like, what would I do if suddenly I'm at a thing and they're like, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
I think I would stand and I would put my hand over my heart and I would just stand silent.
Huh.
I would meditate on it for that period of time, on the concepts. I think that there's a...
on the concepts of what?
On the concept of
being an American?
Of allegiance.
Allegiance.
And of patriotism and what that means.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would pledge my allegiance. It still feels a little wrong to me.
I think that as the world globalizes,
Sure.
and we have these stronger connections to people around the world, it just seems like such a strange thing to have this really, like, all-encompassing identity as an American.
Right. That's where I'm coming from. I feel like
it's like I like this country.
Yeah.
I have a good life here.
Sure.
I like Americans, and I am an American, right?
But you and I didn't
American.
choose America.
We didn't choose it, but at the same time, like, to be all like, oh, America, it doesn't, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I like
We're going to get a lot of emails.
That's fine. We're not claiming to be
being anti-American.
We're not claiming to be right on this. We're just sort of exploring the topic. But here's the thing. I think when I think about this, I think that your global view is the correct view, which is that I do pledge allegiance to humanity.
Oh, absolutely.
And but I value all humanity equally. I don't think my countrymen are better than any other countrymen.
Right.
I don't see how you could make that argument.
Right.
So for me to pledge allegiance to the concept, a pretty made-up concept with these, like, drawn borders that don't make a lot against.
Well, and it was a different world when the damn thing was written.
Sure.
You know,
I just think, I think...
we're not going to go to war against anyone across the Atlantic.
Right.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, not anyone. I guess that's not. but you know what I mean? Like,
if we go a little bit south, we might.
or if we kind of hop over
right
the bulk of Europe.
Yeah.
But the
point is that, like, the things that I value, that I value about the United States are things that I want to apply to everybody.
Right.
And the things that and there are plenty of things that I don't like about the United States that I think need improvement.
Yeah, but that's living anywhere.
Right.
You know?
But that my point is just, like, this republic, to my mind, is no great, amazing thing that needs to be enshrined.
No.
It's just another country.
Yeah.
And there are lots of great countries, and there are shittier countries that we need to help.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe in.
Yeah. Well, good, Dan. Dan, beliefs.
Yeah. I think
Dan believes something, everyone.
Oh, I believe things.
Huh.
Don't kid yourself.
I did not know that.
I'm a believer.
We just discovered something new today.
I'm a believer. You know what I am? I'm a believer. That's what I am.
Well, who isn't really?
Honestly,
when it all
true.
comes down to it, at the end of the day,
aren't we
Dan.
all just believers? That's the true international message.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you pledge your allegiance to? Please let us know how you've responded to what we've said here. Write into us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. It's a great place.
Yeah. Or also on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group.
It's
so
closed.
You got to go through this little process.
Closed as a motherfucker.
And then you get let in.
Yeah.
And it ruins your feed forever.
It can take over. It doesn't have to. The more you interact with it, the more it takes over.
Yeah.
But if you're interacting with it, then you like it.
Then yeah, of course.
It's great. I actually really like what happens in the Members Only Lounge. Thanks to Mackenzie for her hard work on our Facebook page. It's amazing.
And thank you to the Red Rock Hot Club for letting us use their music.
Right. And another thanks to our donors.
Thank you.
Who, if you want to become one of them, go to our Facebook or go to our webpage, thankgodimatheist.com. And thanks to you, dear listener, for chiming in one more time. Bye.